Welcome to the Inspiration Report, brought to you by Brainstorm in a Box. Go grab yourself a beverage and let's get ready. All right, a little bit of inspiration in our box to help you see outside of yours. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world, and welcome to Inspiration in a Box. I'm going to fade over here. My name is Lee Kitchen. This is my good buddy, Sean Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, what's up, Sean?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm so excited to be here. You know, it's only once a month that we do this, but dude, I look forward to this. You know, it's like I just love this thing. I love it.
Lee,
I love inspiring people. I love what we put together for everybody today. I'm just, totally beside myself because we have some, drum roll please, some special guests, ladies and gentlemen. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So excited. Sean, tell us, before we bring them on, tell us a little bit about our special guests.
Everyone, you're in for a super, super special treat. Working with some friends from Nonfiction, who is this great research group that I struck up a relationship with and became friends with. And they've done some really, really unique stuff. Couple projects that we worked on together. But what I've loved the most is the creativity behind their studies. Because look, let's be honest. And Nonfiction guys, I know you're there listening. For most of us, do we think of research as creative? Generally, we're the recipients, right? But there is a lot of creativity that goes into asking that right question. But then even more so, what do we do with it on the back end? Right, Lee?
Yeah, totally. And there's a lot of crypticness when it comes to that. And, I've worked with a lot of great consumer insights folks. And I know that the one is on now, one of my very best friends in the business, Candy Parks. Candy, I'm really happy that you're here. But I'm just stoked to ask you guys a lot of questions. It's going to be great. Welcome, Nonfiction. Woo!
Yeah. Lindsay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We're so excited to be here.
So I'm just going to hand the floor. Lindsay, I'll start with you. Tell us, a little bit about yourself kind of thing. And then I'll let you introduce your partner in crime.
Yeah. Hey, guys. So my name is Lindsay Waking. I've been at Nonfiction for about 2 years now, I guess. Have we been together 2 years, Gunny, already?
2 years.
Yeah, and I came from a background I actually worked for a big PR firm before this, but a background in journalism and anthropology. And I just had like a very, I guess I call it like a healthy disdain for most research. And I thought I was never going to work for a research company until I found Nonfiction, which was founded by Gunny Scarfo and his co-founder, Ben Zeidler.
Awesome. Gunny, give us
Gunny, what's up, dude?
Yeah, what's up? So, Lindsay, that was a great segue. Ben and I worked together at an agency that became Accenture Interactive, the largest digital agency in the world. He was the head of research. I was the head of strategy. And then he went on to work with Scott Galloway at L2 and Gartner. And I went to be head of strategy at Vice Media's digital shop. And then we made Nonfiction. And the basic idea behind it is really simple, which is that there's a life that's hidden underneath the one that people normally share with researchers. So Lee, the thing that you were saying about research, like we couldn't agree more with that. It often doesn't feel creative. It often doesn't feel like you're like, people are like opening their souls to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you have to use that. I mean, to me, it's not as much data as it is inspiration. That's what anytime I'm in a session, I do an empathy session, and Candy, you're out there, you know that we do this all the time. And that is, we use this data to inspire the people that are creating stuff for whoever, whatever team that we're working on. And so it needs to be inspiring. And so it needs to be deep and it needs to be rich. And it's not just words on a paper, right?
That's it.
That's it.
That's absolutely it. Yeah.
Nice.
Like if in the research you can feel like you're seeing into the person that someone really is, even in ways that they don't even talk to friends about, then your research has penetrated into something that's really useful and that can help the company, appeal to the deepest parts of the people.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. We are so stoked to have you guys here. Thank you very much. And we want you to, we talked to you a little about what a casual gathering this is. We've got some really great, I just want to welcome some of our great regulars out there. It looks like we have Malachi is here. What's up, Malachi? We've got JT here. We've got Laura. What's up, Laura? Good to see you. Janice is here. Nancy, Deborah, always a pleasure to have you on. Looks like we got Sarah in from DC. My mom is watching you guys. Hi, Mom. How's it going? Really, I love when my mom watches my show. You guys, come on. That's awesome.
Happy Mother's Day.
And, of course, Candy. Candy, I definitely am happy that you're here. Can't wait to hear all your commentary. So welcome. It looks like Mark and Trish are here. That's really great. And Cindy, good to see you all. So Sean, I thought you would start by telling these two a little bit about our show process, and then I'll kind of bring them up to speed on kind of how we consider ourselves here in this streaming world.
Oh yeah, and sorry, did you use the word show process?
Yeah.
I mean, really, we are the Wayne's World, Wayne and Garth of creative inspiration, right?
Yeah.
So we are excited every month to bring together what Lee and I come across each month that we think is inspiring, right? Now, the thing that's great about having Gunny and Lindsay on the show for this month, in this episode, is we've got to filter across all the stuff that we're going to be showing, right? So as Lindsay and Gunny go through some highlights of this awesome report, I cannot stop thinking about it, to be quite honest, because there's so much kind of design thinking, human behavior, human need information here that really can inspire everything that we are engaging with on a daily basis.
Yep.
And that's what I want to reveal, and we're going to play around with some great stories after they talk about the study.
Nice, but first we need to talk about the rules, which are merely guidelines. So, Gunny and Lindsay, we have this set of rules just so people can kind of follow along. We love everybody to be positive and open-minded and keep the conversation positive. We will be showing you some uncensored stuff, so we definitely want you to keep it positive. We're going to share the air today, so we want to make sure everybody has a chance to chat and to talk. Make sure you're respectful in the chat to each of our fellow audience members. That would be great. Definitely, we want you to build and yes and. That is a key part of creative problem solving and design thinking, and that helps us build. So if you've seen this before, or whatever we show you, you've seen it, make sure you comment on that. Make sure you add texture and something that you might have experienced when it comes to one of the slides that we show. But also, how can we build it? How can we use it? Is there a partner that you're working with and be like, hey, they could really benefit by this? Something like that. Build and yes and that. Pay it forward, which means when we're done, make sure you like our YouTube page, which we'll put the link in the chat, and send that YouTube link to anyone who you think would benefit from this, and anybody who would be inspired by it. And of course, the final one is let's have a little bit of fun. I mean, that's really the key here, Sean. Is fun is really, really important when it comes to creative problem solving. Awesome, being playful, having kind of a lighter touch, but in the process of having fun, we might kick a cable. Woo! Because again, we are Wayne and Garth, and we are the streaming version of Wayne and Garth. And yes, we might have that. We might have dogs bark. We might have cat butts in the view. So bear with us. We are definitely not broadcast professionals. We're just here to inspire you. And yeah, like a parlay partay. Thanks, Mark. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Another thing that you will notice, and I will just show you that, is look at me. I am your chat moderator today. What's up? What's up? Our friend Jose, he is doing another podcast today, and he can't be with us. Jose will definitely miss you, and I will try my best to endeavor to be as awesome as you. But just so you guys know, I'll be monitoring the chat today, so bear with me as we get to that, and we will definitely go back to that. So I will endeavor my best, Sean. I will do my best. So.
You better.
It looks like we're about ready. Why don't you talk a little bit about what intrigued you about our friends here at Nonfiction, and then we'll turn it over to them to kind of tell us a little bit more about the types of things that they've done.
That's great. I'm going to do this very, very simply. Gunny and Lindsay, you guys are going to take over and walk through this. But the name of the study, America's Secret Playlists, right? And the question here, what if what if the Spotify playlist of Americans offer clues to the next era of business, right? And so when I went through this study again, thinking through design thinking and starting with what does the human need? We are not simple creatures, right, Lee? Are you happy all the time? Actually, you probably are most of the time.
Are you asking me if I'm a simple creature? Because I'm definitely not. I'm a simpleton, which means I like to keep things simple, but somehow my life is complex and complicated. But that's why I have to like distill everything down to the simplicity of it, just so I don't get overwhelmed. Basically.
Right. Well, look, there is one big point that Gunny and Lindsay, you guys are going to hit on for us as you talk through the study and the creative process of working through the study, and some great tips on creative problem solving. But there's a really one great key point that's the filter for our study today. And we're excited to walk through some awesome content powered by this study.
Yeah, so tell us, I'm going to switch to that slide, and you guys can tell us a little bit about your playlist, your secret playlists.
Yeah, thanks, guys. First of all, so excited to be here. And, I think it's interesting. At the core of this study is kind of like one simple question, which is, if you could peer inside the playlists of millions of Americans, what would you find? And at the beginning of the study, we built this this program to crawl Spotify and essentially just pull us like tens of thousands of playlists. And we spent weeks going through them. And I think one of the things that just hit us the strongest at the beginning was that, we all know that we use playlists to put ourselves into good moods. Gunny, I don't know if you have a hype up playlist or a workout playlist that you love, but that's something that I think we all know, right?
I don't have a workout playlist. that's just passive aggressive humor.
I think Vanilla Ice is on the top of Gunny's playlist.
Yeah, there's zero workout playlist. I'll tell you that much. But yes, some hype up playlists perhaps. That's true.
Yeah, you just you listen to workout playlists just sitting still.
Yeah, watching other people work out.
Yeah,
you got a playlist for that, Gunny. I know you do.
And the cool thing about Spotify playlists is even these what we call positive playlists, these exciting playlists that you all know, are really great and really specific. When you dig into Spotify, because people kind of use their playlists almost like diary entries, kind of Gunny was saying at the beginning that we don't. No one often goes up to a researcher and they're like, here, read my diary. But Spotify has the diary entries of millions of Americans, because they let you customize playlists. You can make the titles really creative. You can make the descriptions, and you find that people are really confessional within this little kind of construct of this playlist. And one of the things that we found when we were just looking through tens of thousands of playlists is we were overwhelmed by the sheer number of really dark playlists, playlists that pay homage to kind of these emotions that we don't like to talk about in public. Emotions like sadness and fear and anger and regret.
I have a punk and mosh playlist. Totally. It's my car anger playlist that I play if I've had a bad day and I want to be angry in the car on the way home just to get it out of it. So yeah, it's got a lot of Marilyn Manson on it. Rage Against the Machine. That kind of thing.
I go to Marilyn Manson when I'm angry.
Yeah, that's it. And I think it's also interesting how specific they are. There are playlists that obviously feel like anger playlists. But then there are playlists that are titled things like, now excuse me, I'm gonna take a shower so I can't tell if I'm crying.
Oh,
or
gosh.
Playlists like it's a Wednesday at 2 p.m. and I'm in a sundress on my patio crying. Or my infertility and my grief. So there are playlists that are really kind of sad and kind of intense, and you can tell almost a way to process an emotion. But there are also playlists that are very funny, 11 drunk missed calls. And I think another one that I loved was pants shitting breakdowns.
I need to get more creative with my playlist title, Sean. What do you think?
Well, my wife's an elementary school teacher. She might have that same playlist.
Yeah. It might be your wife's playlist.
Well, hold on. I want to go back to the chat really quick because Candy was said exactly. She has the FU playlist. I think we all have an FU playlist at some time. I hope you actually spelled it out, though, Candy, in your playlist.
We have someone in the report had a playlist called "Fuck the Neighbors."
So tell us. I just pulled up the slide that says an overwhelming number of people using playlists feel emotions that we rarely talk about. And then the next one you said, but corporate America is out of step. So tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, Gunny, I don't know if you want to chime in here.
Sure. Once we got through all the playlists and we saw, I mean, like, you just start talking about this and everyone talks to you about the playlists that they have, right? Like, even in the few minutes that we've been on this call, we've opened up to each other about our playlists. And you realize that playlists are this great view into the emotional realism of people, like real people's lives. And you see that sort of thing in music, in film. There are things that make you feel the whole range of emotion: happiness, sadness, anger, car rage, to hit on Lee's theme.
Yeah.
But
road rage, man.
There's this other world of like corporate communication that pretends to speak to the full range of human emotion. But when you actually look at it, it's a very narrow range of human emotions that commercials speak to, or HR departments speak to, or even like the products themselves. And so one of the things that I thought was really profound about Lindsay's work on this is like that dichotomy between these two worlds: the world where emotional realism is, expected, like music and film and shows, and then this other world where emotional realism almost feels like you bring up a certain emotion and everyone becomes immediately uncomfortable. And so that kind of leads to this idea of happy washing, which I'll throw back to Linz.
Yeah, it's funny. It's almost like we're operating in two completely different rule sets, right? There's like a rule set for our personal lives and what we hunger for when we're just being like real humans. And then we click over into this whole other rule set when we start talking about the institutions that architect our daily lives, like marketers, advertisers, nonprofits, government organizations are all operating under this other rule set where it feels like 85% of our emotional experience is not represented and does not show up.
And there's just happiness. I don't mean, what's the phrase? Misery.
Misery needs company or something.
Misery loves company.
Yes. but it actually it creates a calming feeling and a peace to know, hey, I'm not alone, or someone recognizes me, and it's okay.
It does. And I think that's where, like, it's funny, there's actually some neurology research that shows we think by seeing negativity, by calling it out, by showing people that it's going to make people feel more negative. But actually all the psychology says very differently. It makes you feel positive. It's called labeling. Like, and it there's like a very like biological root to it, that when you label a negative emotion, or when someone feels seen in a negative emotion, it actually makes them feel better and more positive. And so with all of that, I think you look at how we portray people's lives and how we even sell products to people and how we talk to people. And we're, I think we're in this era of marketing where, we believe in talking to people's emotions, and we believe that branding needs to be more emotional, but we're only talking to this tiny range of people's emotions. Yeah. And often we're in like positions and situations, and even like certain situations when we're selling products, that what we're showing people is not real. We're kind of like happy washing all of their other like complex human emotions away. And I think one of the lessons that playlists teach us is that not only do we maybe not have to do that, it can be really powerful to be able to see people in these other emotions, the ones that we're not talking as much about. And that doesn't have to be depressing. Like, it can be very funny. It can be inspiring. I think we've only ever wanted to focus on this one area, and we've left so much on the table, so much creative potential on the table.
Hey, Lindsay, if you don't mind, let me just go back to the chat really quick, because our friend Lauren says Lauren is a great marketer, has a really great company. And she says for their Asian beauty brand, they play a playlist that perfectly matches how long you're supposed to spend on your skincare routine, so you know when to take your face sheet mask off and how long before you apply the serum after that. And then Cheryl kind of agreed and said it's an awesome idea. So, we even teach kids on how to wash their hands by having them sing a song like the ABCs or Old MacDonald, right? So
that's great. That's such a great idea. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this emotional realism, and then we'll just jumpstart the report here.
Yeah. So we've kind of labeled this like hunger that we've started to sense in the hearts and minds of Americans to feel this full spectrum of human emotion, even those deep and dark ones that you maybe aren't putting on Instagram, emotional realism. And again, I think when you start to look in culture, like you're kind of seeing this boom of things that are really like what we call like emotionally realistic. Like when you look at the music that's really popular today, you've got people like Billie Eilish, who's got songs like Bury a Friend and All the Good Girls Go to Hell. Like those aren't like happy, shiny, they ain't the monkeys, you know? And the shows people love, Euphoria, The Good Place, like there's all these kind of signals in culture that I think are showing this hunger for emotional realism. And we think it's really going to influence the expectations that people have for businesses, and the ways they interact in corporate cultures and what they want from their advertising. And I think we're really excited to kind of see this start to shape how people, like what people want from companies.
Because one of the things that I want to like really call out that Lindsay's saying is that most of the time companies are looking to achieve the same level of emotion or engagement or motivation or inspiration or whatever it might be. They're looking to reach into people and move them in the same way these other industries do it. But in order to do that, you need to learn from what the other industries do. And part of what you need to learn as a more corporate company is that emotional realism is the only path to be able to do it.
I love it. I love it because the next slide I wanted to show that you guys put in here is about you guys have your own creative problem solving tips. And when Sean put this in the report, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this up, when he put it in the report, I thought, wow, this is like exactly what we say when we're going through the empathy phase of design thinking. And just talk a little bit about that, either Lindsay or Gunny, about why you think each four of these things are so important, because it's totally synonymous with how we go about helping people really dig to that human truth, of their consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think one of the things we talk a lot about is looking for that untold story, and very transparently, like this report, I feel like lived 7 lives and didn't necessarily start in the place of playlists. It actually started as a report on music and suicide and the songs that people use to, or people kind of credit with saving their life. And we started to get into that research, and first of all, it's been a story that's kind of been told before, and there also just wasn't the critical mass that we needed to do a quantitative study, which in some ways you're like, thank God there's not a quantitative mass that we need to do that study. But it forced us to kind of reconsider what we were actually like looking for. And that's when we stumbled into this kind of playlist finding, because as we were doing that research, we started to just like sift through a lot of these playlists organically. And I think the specificity and the vividness and almost the poetry that people have in their dark playlists felt like we had like uncovered something that no one was really talking about. And
like even their titles, Lindsay, the titles of their playlist, it wasn't like, hey, I thought of this and typed it out real quick while I was driving on the freeway.
Right.
The names of the titles of those playlists,
they were well thought out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like poetry in a way. And
which
really
I think is funny,
like,
because when you ask people in a room if they're creative, a good portion of the people that I ask that, it'll be 80% say no, and I bet they took a lot of time to name each one of their playlists, and they're just not realizing how creative they actually were. So
yeah, totally. It's like the hidden artist comes out in these Spotify playlists.
Hold on, I gotta go back to the chat for just a moment, because Candy just came back and said, "These people are my people. They're so spot on. She's found their people."
Yeah,
I have to make the introduction to Candy sometimes. She's one of the most amazing people I've ever worked with. So I hope that you guys get a chance to meet with each other sometime.
Let's go get a drink with Candy.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we are going to actually move on here. So Sean, I'm going to bring you and I up, and then we will come back to these two in just a few moments here. So let's talk a little bit about what we plan to do with their great stuff and why we're doing this today.
Absolutely, and just one more quick reminder. I know we put it in the chat, but we do have a link to the Spotify study for everyone. So if you go to our Linktree page, And one of the very top links goes out to the Spotify study so everyone can read it. Please do take a look. It is fascinating. So for today, we literally are going to take this concept of emotional realism, smash it together as creative inspiration, right? Plain and simple, not that hard. And especially if we think about, it actually makes things a lot easier because it's finding the emotion behind products that have been created, companies that have been started, consumer trends and behaviors that we've noticed. And let's be honest too, over the last 14 months, I think we've all been emotional mess, right?
Yeah.
And many people and companies have embraced this and said, look, we know everyone feels bad. Let's go with this. Let's do something with it. And of course, many haven't too, right? Which is fascinating. So
yep.
We've got a lot of great stuff to show. We have some awesome videos. I think it's time to roll that beautiful bean footage.
Mr. All right. Let's go ahead and get rolling here. Let's go to our first slide, which is going to be toothpaste and oral beauty. So even in a world that values self-expression, 39% of Americans report not feeling accepted as their true selves. Colgate actually helps to change this reality. So they've launched a thing that they're basically a new approach to oral beauty rooted in self-care and self-expression. This collection features 7 complementary products that encourage consumers to smile confidently and express themselves. It was born from the power that the belief in the smile is that a smile is at the heart of feeling better and confident. And they encourage all people to share their authentic selves with the world, smile brighter, express themselves freely, and live truly and boldly. So I'll just go over a couple of the products that they plan on thinking. If I missed something, Sean, you let me know. The first one is the Oh So Dazzling enzyme-powered whitening toothpaste, the first enzyme-powered whitening toothpaste, apparently. The next one is Later Stains Foaming Anti-Stain Mouth Rinse. Foaming at the mouth rinse. I think that's kind of funny too. A daily foaming mouth rinse that we use at home or on the go. The next one is called It's Lit Overnight Whitening Wand. They also have the CO Worker rechargeable electric toothbrush. The Supernova at-home teeth whitening kit. The Co on the go anti-cavity toothpaste tabs, and a TLC manual toothbrush. But a super cool campaign. Sean, tell me what caught your eye about it.
I wouldn't say this is a perfect execution, right, of emotional realism, but it at least is. I thought it was creative enough that you're taking a pretty standard product, right, and process of brushing our teeth and taking care of our oral care.
Yep.
But taking a look at it from the perspective of people's self-esteem and people that have low self-esteem in different ways, and trying to think about how can we be a part of that. So
yeah, it's putting the emotion instead of the functionality of it, right? It's definitely a functional thing, but let's just put the functional thing aside for now and say this is about a feeling. This is about emotions.
And I do agree. Justin commented 39% seems low on their quote there. Americans report not feeling accepted as their true selves.
Yeah,
I would agree.
It definitely does.
Lindsay and Gunny, you guys agree? Does that seem low to you, or seem
yeah.
Low?
I feel like it should be admitted. 39% of people admitted that they don't feel accepted. The rest of us are just hiding it from ourselves.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, that's what you were talking about, is that some people won't say the truth to marketers and researchers. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, Sean.
Yep. So this one is this is an example, again, born out of people's behavior and what they were finding and learning about themselves from COVID. It's actually a really interesting idea. I'm not sure that I would be doing it, but basically Pattern Project is a company born out of folks that took up an interest in sewing and sewing their own clothes. There's also a recognition there of consumers that are concerned about the environmental impact of fast fashion, right? Company brings out millions of t-shirts. They only sell half of them, and then the rest of them don't go anywhere or are burned and not donated. So very interesting in combining people's interest, wanting to learn something new, and having a kind of a social cause behind it. The company will send you pre-cut pieces of material for a certain clothing item with instructions, and then you sew it yourself. I just thought it was interesting. And I think it said, I'm looking really quick, sewing machines sold out
Yeah.
at some point.
Well, we needed something to do last year, right? I was ready to take up sewing and knitting and all that stuff. If I hadn't started DJing, I totally would have done that stuff. But I got caught up in the DJ thing. But still, we needed a hobby last year, Sean.
Yeah. So at a minimum,
and also someday I do want to learn how to hem my own pants. I'm tired of taking my pants to be hemmed. I want to learn it myself.
I'm hoping someday I have to take my pants in because they're too loose, but that's not happening.
Yeah. My good buddy Larry says, sounds like all those out in the community making masks, right? How creative did we see the masks get going,
Exactly.
right? There's so many different kinds. And that's like another express, the mask is like the next t-shirt now, Everybody's really expressing themselves creatively through their masks. So Interesting. All right, let's go to the next one. Lindsay, would you like to talk about this one?
Yeah, I love this one. So I think there are so few brands that do emotional realism well. But there's a brand some of you may know called Freedom Mom. It's a parenting brand, but they specialize in postpartum products. So they have a postpartum kit. They have breastfeeding products. And for years now, they have been focusing on what they call the fourth trimester, that most women are not prepared for the emotional realism of the fourth trimester.
It's real.
The feelings of hating your child, the feelings of hating your body, just the clash in expectations that we don't prepare women well for that. And so that's been kind of their mission. And they've been doing things for years now. Last year, they produced a commercial that got banned from the Golden Globes because it was considered too dark, which was great because it was just the reality that most women post-pregnancy face.
Absolutely.
And it was considered you had to censor it for TV. But this year, they created another piece that was the first, I think it was the first ever lactating breast to ever be shown on television, I think.
Wow.
And it is an amazing commercial, and that was kind of the shock value, but I think the rest of the story is actually the more powerful piece, which is just shows women in these very real moments post-pregnancy of confusion and fear and joy kind of all wrapped together. And they don't do it in a way that's depressing. They do it in a way that's really inspirational. And so I think that's why I love this piece so much, because it shows you that emotional realism doesn't have to leave you feeling sad or depressed or crying in the shower. Lindsay,
I got to chime in here for just a second because my daughter just had my grandson last year, right? And one of the observations that she made just harken back to when she was little and how clueless my wife and I at the time, we didn't know what we were doing, but a million people wanted to tell us, but unfortunately none of that advice worked, right? And she said the same thing, all these people, all the doctors and all the people told us what to do, but we were figuring it out for our own. I'm like, that's what we all do, and we all kind of run around bumping into walls until we actually figure it out. Trial and error, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's this experience that everyone actually goes through, but no one ever really prepares you for the realness of it.
All right, let's. You want to show the video?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
You've got this. Latch. And oh god, unlatch. And clog. And
good mom should know how to do this. And am I a bad mom if I stop now?
And my doctor said cabbage. And do I love my baby?
And cluster feeding.
So much milk.
Not enough milk. And what even is enough milk?
And flatten the nipple.
And I just want to feed my baby.
Such good stuff. Okay, I have to go one step further on this, and I want to say that Frida needs to also do Frida Adult Child. So one of the things that they don't prep you for in child school is they prep you for 0 to 18, but no one preps you for after your children become adults. And that's one of the coolest times to be a parent, but I wish I had a little bit of preparation for it. So I hope they're out there and they hear that, because that could really be a unique place for them to go. Yeah. Good one. Sean, did you have something?
You've got this. Latch.
And oh god, unlatch. And clog.
And good mom should.
Yeah, that's great. That could be some really amazing work.
Sean, say that one more time because I had your audio muted while I was playing the video. So say that one more time.
That's okay. Just I'd love to see what the equivalent might be of education for fathers too, right? To help understand more and be more empathetic to situations, and help, because there was only one book available about fatherhood when we were having our kids.
Man, yes.
And it was like
we need resources all across the board.
Yeah. There are, I feel like there are a couple companies that are coming out trying to address that space of dads, but you're so right, Sean. It's like wide open. It's wide open, and dads need it. Like I saw an ad on Instagram that it was like, my daughter is 4, and the ad essentially knew how old she was roughly, and said something along the lines of like, you only have 15 more summers with your daughter.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Before she disappears.
That's what my old employer does. My employer Disney does that.
Click here.
That's super guilt trip stuff.
And, but I gotta tell you, it didn't strike me as inauthentic. I was like, you're right. I do only have 15 more summers with her. What am I going to do with this summer? And what can you offer me to do that? So yeah.
Clock's ticking, Gunny. Clock's ticking.
It's real. It's real.
Lots of great comments in the chat, you guys. Thank you very much. And let us know if our audio ever dips out, because I'm flipping switches and buttons here, and sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. So, okay, we're going to move on, and this is another provocative one, you guys. And I just have to tell you, I'm going to go ahead and come out with it because this is a personal thing for me. But I'm a newlywed, right? Okay, so I'll admit that. I married a wonderful woman in Canada. Her name is Sarah, and she's 18 years younger than me. And so I'm kind of having a resurgence, right? It's just really, really great, and I'm just so happy to be together. We're just so in love. And I'm convinced that the world would be a better place if people had more sex. Okay, let's just say it. We're doing the uncensored thing, so I'm really a strong believer in that. And Sean, I'm so happy that you put this in here. This is a lube campaign that tackles the taboo of aging and sex, right? So anytime you see ads like this, it's always showing young and fertile people and all that kind of stuff. And it's so nice to take a different approach to this, saying, hey, it's hot at any age, right? So Replens, makers of this moisturizer, and the creative agency Gate wanted to set out to illustrate a series of black and white portraits of real older couples for an out-of-home campaign. Because they wanted to kind of make it a little bit more diverse, because there's a lack of diversity when it comes to people of color and the LGBTQ plus folks, and people with wrinkled skin and gray hair. So what a great ad campaign. Another thing that I pulled out of this research, it says 48% of UK adults over 60 feel more confident in their sexual relationships than ever before. And I would love to just go around and ask people how they feel about that, because I'm telling you, we need to keep doing this. Wink, get it? I mean, until we can't. If you ask me, do it while you can, because there might be a time when you can't. So let's go for it, is what I'm saying, Sean. And I'm telling you, we're going to make the world a better place, you guys. I promise. There'll be less road rage. There'll be less war. There'll be less conflict. Let's have some sex. Come on.
Q 90s song, right?
Yeah,
Q90s
exactly.
Song for my playlist.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to the chat a little bit. Nancy's talking to Sterling, and she says there's a company called the Relationship School that's trying to help people learn how to have relationships by mixing many psychological disciplines. Their mission is to get to having a high school curriculum, which. Yeah, I said that too. I wish I had learned half of the woes that I made, mistakes that I made in relationships. People should have taught me that in high school. Anyway, Sean, what else inspired you about this before we move on to the next one?
Two things. One, once again, it's real, and honestly, why does society? And I have to imagine this is this is UK. Why different cultures and different geographies are going to treat things differently? Why is there such a fear and lack of courage for certain messaging? Because it's all there, right? We're all, it's us here. why the hell are we so fearful about certain messages? And this is just a perfect example. This is a perfect example, right? Like you said, let's hope we can all keep doing it. But geez, let's talk about
Gunny and Lindsay. Any commentary on that? Because I know you guys have done some provocative studies when it comes to this. So any quick? We're kind of running short on time here. With just a quick comment about that.
Oh yeah, I mean go for it, Gunny.
I was going to say the same thing you were going to say, which is we did a study called Intimacy in America that was self-funded, no client, just us, and it was studying like the parts of our intimate lives that we don't talk about to other people, like the ways in which we are able to connect with other people and the ways in which we aren't. And in that study, there was a nationwide quantitative study that was a part of it. But before that, we spent times with both male and female escorts to ask them, like, what are the parts of people's lives that they don't share with other people? Like, they're literally paying you to connect with them in those moments. And it goes way beyond sex into intimacy. And the stuff that we learned from that was fascinating and ended up powering the rest of the study.
I think it was like 64% of people said that there was a part of themselves that they felt was unlovable.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, good.
Not to drag the energy down.
No. I mean, it's true though, because if you don't have confidence, it's. I mean, I was forced to be single for 3 years, and I didn't have confidence, and so I wasn't making the connection. But once I had some confidence, wow, I made a connection, and it was obvious to the person that I was trying to connect with that I was feeling confident. So it's a really important piece. So it's backing up the couple campaigns we saw about the dental care, and Sean's going to show you one about that Dove is doing. It just backs it up. We have to start early, making people feel good about themselves. And I will always if you guys need validation, it's one of my favorite things. So just call me on the phone, and I will tell you how great you are. I promise. And even if I barely know you, I probably could figure out something really quick that you're great in. So you can always call my hotline. I will do that, Sean. If you need
that's what I like to call Lee's big bear hug.
Lee's gonna be please stop calling me, Lindsay.
After you watch my wedding, I was bawling my eyes out at my own wedding. I'm so in love with this woman. I was just like, I can't take it. So, talk about some emotional realism. You guys got a bunch of that for 45 minutes. All right,
hey, Levy, let's if you're okay, let's go to the next one. Just I want to watch the clock for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is such a great video too.
Got it. And who's presenting here? Really quick. Yeah, okay, you and Sean, stand by. Here we go. Go for it.
Sean, I feel like both you and I both love this one, which I feel like means we had some dark moments in quarantine. This ad came out at this time when, I remember when everyone was doing the ads, they were like, we're all in this together. And everyone was still doing these, which they were nice, but eventually it became very, faux inspirational. And then Iceland came out with this ad that was driving awareness for going to Iceland when quarantine hit. And it tapped into this idea that we were all ready to just primal scream.
Oh my gosh. I have in my car, honestly. I will leave the house at some point just to get out of the house, and I have a loop that I drive around. Yeah. And I can probably count about 8 times I've just screamed in the car.
It feels
good. We all have our scream pillows too. Don't forget the scream pillows. We all have those too.
I think it's so healthy and so cathartic. But let's play the video and then we can talk a little bit more.
All right, here we go.
Terrible stuff continues to happen. Experts say this.
Mom, yes.
That was really great.
I love that.
That feels like literal home footage of me for 9 months. I think I think you could have done this idea in a lot of different ways. Like they took a really humorous route, but you could have gone like really hard hitting with it. You could have gone really earnest with it. And I don't know, like I think it also hit really close to home for me because I was supposed to go to Iceland like the week lockdown hit, which was heartbreaking. But I think it's so rare to see you like people tap into this like primal scream insight. There's a great, go for it.
Yeah, we had a story a couple of months ago about a teacher who created a hotline. So as a teacher, you could call in and then when prompted, just scream in the phone.
That's so good.
It really is.
So again, human nature, right? Human nature.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the next one here. So Sean, this is great. I love this. This is University of Alabama doing something really great, and that is they're basically a health promoting university, and at their students' request, a cross-campus team fast-tracked the development of a campus-specific mental health app to help everybody with their mental health during the first part of the pandemic. And the thing that I love about this is they actually got together a diverse team of people and did a design thinking sprint. It says here that they provided the content and initial ideas to the IT team, and they used a rapid prototyping methodology to confirm the requirements. And at the end, the student affairs firmed up the initial specification. They took the final requirements, and they took a cross-functional team to kind of make those ideas, and then they launched the app the first week of January in 2021. So super cool. And that's what we say, you guys, is if you have a challenge and you have a diverse amount of people that are going to be affected by this challenge, don't just try to solve it yourself. Bring those people in. It's a super important part of creative problem solving and design thinking, right, Sean? I mean, that's kind of why you put this in here, right?
Absolutely. I love that they listened, right? So a bit of courage here, recognizing mental health was an issue at the university, and they reacted. And it wasn't just a quick, solve or, we'll just kind of whitewash this a little bit.
Yep.
They put together a team, and then they prototyped, right? Yep. I'm sure it's going to go through iterations, and it probably did, but put something together that works and get it out and then test it. Nothing wrong with prototyping.
Exactly.
Yep.
Got to fail fast and keep moving on. All right.
That's it.
Talk about your one-trick pony.
Yeah, this one is a great article. Again, this is accessible in our Linktree link. But here's the reason why I pulled it. All of us, right, at some point have thought, I have got to get out of this job, right? What else should I be doing? And what was fascinating, the gentleman who wrote this has been pretty successful. But it's not, to me, it wasn't this, oh, great, here's a person he's had unattainable experiences. He was a corporate strategist at a Fortune 500 company, U.S. Navy Reserve officer. He authored a few books and a record producer. And the premise of this is have more than one job, create a side hustle, do something that is passionate for you. And basically,
dude, that's Gary Vaynerchuk's first book, Cash In on Your Passion, right?
Yes. I mean, Lee, this one point that he makes in the article is absolutely something that we talk about and you'll agree with immediately. Make friends in different circles.
Absolutely.
And why? What's the benefit, Lee? What's the benefit of friends in different circles?
It's just fresh input, man. I mean, It's super fresh input. And people, really great people before us have done this. If you didn't know already, Salvador Dali used to have this thing called the Cleveland Club. He would meet with Frida Kahlo and Walt Disney and Charlie Chaplin and a bunch of people when they got together in New York, and they used to do this little drawing thing where they draw a picture and they'd switch it over and draw another picture, and they would all take influence from each other. And it morphed later on. They still got together in the 60s, and it was Jackie O, and it was Alice Cooper and Salvador Dali and his wife and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like a diverse amount of people. Actually, I did some studies on Salvador Dali, and Salvador Dali used to he would go into the sports world and he would get inspired by baseball. That's why you see a couple of his paintings replicate baseball. And it's just, you have to get fresh input from different places. Really, really great.
You just summed up the purpose of us doing this report every month.
Yes,
fresh input from different places.
Exactly.
Who's Salvador? Which one of you is Dali?
That's a tough one.
I don't do drugs. I am drugs. That's one of his phrases. All right, let's go to Lindsay here. Lindsay, this one is super, super cool, and I'm totally going to interrupt you right in the middle of what you're saying, but tell us about it first.
Yeah, this one's awesome. So again, during the middle of the pandemic, Virgin Media created 2 pop-up pizza places where you could go and you could have a slice with the person who was in the other joint. And so they did that via holograms. You would sit down and eat pizza with a hologram.
Okay, now I'm interrupting. Hold on, I'm interrupting. Because Sean knows, and everybody in this audience knows what a big Star Wars fan I am. I have an unhealthy relationship with the whole Star Wars universe. And I have been begging for the Jedi Council. And that is all of us sitting around the thing in holograms. And I want that at dinner tables, and I want that at bars. and you know, it would take this whole Zoom thing to the next level because you could actually see the person and kind of, you know, you wouldn't be able to kind of put your arm around them. But still, it's like the next generation of hanging out when you can't actually be together. I love it. I want it to happen. Can we make this happen?
Oh man, this show would be so much better via hologram.
It would. We could actually be sitting in your living room, you guys. Come on,
right.
Who wouldn't want that? Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. So continue.
No, I mean it's. I love this piece. It reminds me of a campaign that I saw years ago. A nonprofit did in Spain where they launched a hologram protest, which is great. So it feels like. I feel like the use of holograms is getting a lot more mainstream. It's easier to do, but it was a cool way to like help connect people in the middle of our collective despair.
think about Sean. Think about the, and I'll pull you up here in just a second. But think about, remember the thing we had last month or a couple months ago with the it wasn't Ancestry, it was the other competing Ancestry thing where they were animating your old deceased relatives, right? This seems like you could combine this and you could combine the Tupac live on stage thing with let's have a conversation with our former relatives.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, creepy, but wow, there's so many possibilities here, right? So many combined possibilities. So
I love it. Oh my God.
All right, and that leads us into another one here called Mesh, and Mesh is just another way to stay connected. It's a recent survey conducted by health benefits provider Aetna found that 40% of employers in the U.S. are concerned that lack of social interaction among colleagues will have a long-term negative impact on workers, right? There's no elevator conversation anymore. There's no seeing people when you go down to get a coffee or when you go to the water cooler. And, you know, Zoom is or is not a great way to do that. So there's really some concern around it. And I've heard this from colleagues from my former job. I've heard it from a lot of my clients, my corporate clients, is what do we do now? You know, what's the new face of what returning, quote unquote, returning to work is? But here's a solution that's just a little bit different than Zoom. It's called Mesh, and it's basically a gamified way to create a character and kind of go from different place to different place within an office, and also get together and have face-to-face meetings and do a little bit of fun and post stuff, and it's super cool. Tell us, Sean, give me a little bit more detail about it, because I know you were inspired by it.
Your avatars. So you move your avatar around in the environment, and when they come close enough to each other, your video conversation screens pop up, so you actually can see the real person through video and talk. If Zoom is a fax machine, Mesh is a Sony PlayStation.
Do the Jedi Council. Come on, man. We're almost there. All right, this is a great one, Sean. I love Dove campaigns. Dove does a really great job on really making emotional realism come true here. So tell us.
Yep, and just real quick for everyone, we've got one more after this. Hang in, because we're closing out with a bang with a great video. But as a dad of 2 daughters who are now adults, 18 and 21 tomorrow, it really caught me. 80% of Canadian girls have downloaded a filter or used an app to change their appearance in selfies by age 13. So clearly tech in many cases is not a good thing, and we're doing a bad job managing it.
Yeah.
So I'm plain and simple, without going into deep details, I love that Dove as a brand has done some interesting things, right, with women and diversity and beauty in all shapes and sizes, and I'm dumbing that down. But now looking at a campaign called Reverse Selfie, and trying to educate kids, but also parents, on challenges with technology, what is important for kids in their self-image, and just trying to combat what's going on with negative social media, right? It's just smart.
Also,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, also me. I'm a grown ass adult, and those filters fuck with my head.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you all look like
to take
that?
out my double chin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine what it does to someone without a fully developed full frontal cortex. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's really great for Dove. All right, we're going to move right along here because we're running out of time, but let's talk about Organic Valley, Lindsay.
Yeah, Sean, I know you love this one too. Organic Valley, this one's a little bit old, actually. I feel like they were like the OG emotional realism brand. And I think it's 2016, they started running these surveys of like what moms' mornings are really like, and they called it the Real Morning Report. And they found, I think, like 58% of women like curse in the morning. I think it was like over 30% like never make their bed. And it was just great because, like, you know, they're in this category, especially like breakfast kind of categories, that always show people having these like peaceful, like beautiful mornings where they have all this like leisure time and they're eating yogurt by a window, and you're like, whose morning looks like that? Does your morning look like that, Sean?
Oh my gosh.
I'm definitely swearing in the morning, Sean. I don't know about you, but
yeah, my morning's a mess, and it's just a little bit easier because I have no hair.
Right. All right, you guys ready to watch the video?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's check it out.
Like most women in commercials, I love to start each day doing yoga in my underwear.
Or journaling in my journaling nook.
And eating a wholesome, farm-fresh breakfast with a tiny spoon that I bought from a company that gives tiny spoons to underprivileged children.
Huh. According to science, most professional women don't have time for any of that.
Not that we need research to prove it, but there's research to prove it.
57% of us are up before the sun is up.
21% of us check our work email before even getting out of bed.
What?
Let's go get that morning meeting.
9% of women cite dry shampoo as one of the greatest inventions of the 20th century.
I'm done.
33% of us never make our bed. Like, ever.
21% of us have used an article of clothing to camouflage a stain. Very nice.
Only 16% of women would describe their morning with the hashtag blessed. And that seems kind of high.
58% of women will swear at someone or something this morning. Oh,
You know what 100% of us do have time for? A real-life Pinterest board?
Fermenting your own small batch kombucha?
Propose?
No, an organic breakfast in a bottle.
That's why we created Organic Balance.
Propose.
A nutritious, organic breakfast with 16 grams of protein and half the day's calcium, so you can seize the cray. Find out what real women's mornings are really like at realmorningreport.com.
Oh God, I feel the pain of
Like most women in commercials, I love to start each day.
So funny. Oh my gosh. That is so real. And it's like the Instagram life, man. I see people doing that. You know, I have friends of mine that have this perfect Instagram life. And I'm like, just show us your messed up hair, okay? It's not always, it doesn't, when you're not fooling anybody, right?
The bigger the front,
we're out
the bigger
of
the
time,
back.
you guys. So, Sean, I would like you to help us thank our folks, and I'm going to put up their information. So I'll pass it back to you.
Lindsay and Gunny, we can't thank, and Ben. I know Ben is supporting on a digital front, and probably the rest of the team. But so thankful for you guys coming on, putting up with Lee and I. Again, we have the Spotify study available on our link tree. I put it in the chat. And then also we've got, for more information, nonfiction.co. But thank you guys. This is fantastic.
Thank you for having us. I've been looking down, looking at the Twitch chat the whole time. The chat has been fantastic. Your audience is just stellar.
Yeah, that was so cool. You guys were such fun.
Yeah, we love it, and thank you everybody for coming out. And really, you guys were really fascinating. I can't wait to talk more about this stuff. And I know I'm just seeing we've got another one of my good research buddies in here, Gabe, and I know that I'm going to get together with these guys and talk about that. I love my little research community, right? And I also married a researcher, just so you guys know. So I'm all in. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
So
welcome to the club.
I really appreciate you guys being here. I love the commentary that you gave us. To the audience, I love the fact that you sent in some really great chats. I'm really sorry Jose wasn't here to help pay attention to the chat a little bit more. And thank you for being here. Nonfiction guys, Lindsay and Gunny, thank you guys for being here. We'd love to have you come back sometime. We'd love it. Would you be in for that?
Yes, please.
Excellent.
Anytime.
If we haven't dragged your brand into the uncensored,
that's what we don't. Well, at least I don't work for the place I used to work anymore, so I can be a little bit more uncensored here. Which is, now everybody knows how I feel about sexual relationships, so I'm good with that. Right? The world's gonna be a better place. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Again, I do mean that about validation. If you guys ever need validation too, just call me. I'll tell you how great you are because you guys are really great. But thank you, Sean. Any parting words of wisdom?
Just excited about show number 9 in the books, and keep sending us your ideas to brainstorminabox@gmail.com. But
nice.
We love you guys for following us and keep sharing.
And Sean, will you post the link to also our YouTube channel if you have it? We would love you guys to follow our YouTube channel. That's where we will put the this broadcast on there. We strongly suggest you follow our playlists. So we have a playlist there with all of them on it, and we'd love to have you follow our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you share it with other people. Please, if you see us post information about our once a month thing, please send that to your friends. Please invite anybody who you think will benefit from this. And again, thank you to Nonfiction. I'm actually going to give you a physical round of applause. Thank you guys. Really great. And we will see you next month. Our next session is in the first Friday of June. It'll be June 4th, 2021, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We're going to put up a slide here that has all of our link tree on it. And again, if you need us, we are hireable, right? We are all hireable here. Hire. Need some consumer research, our nonfiction.co folks, please consider them. And of course, Sean and I do Innovation Catalyst work. We help you think differently about your businesses. So please give us a call. We would love to help you think about your business differently. Have a great week and weekend, everybody, and we will see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.